All right, Chuckers, you ready to do another step-by-step advanced sketching with me?
Yeah.
This is going to be awesome. We're going to do a cool beetle. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. We hope our art friends at home are going to follow along with us, huh?
Yeah.
And we're going to be using the same materials we always use in these videos. We're going to be using a Prismacolor ebony pencil. And then we're also using a blending stub. And this is just paper that's sharpened. It's rolled up and sharpened on both sides. We like this because it has a nice point and it helps us with shading. But we can also just use our fingers when we're blending. Okay? And then we're also using a kneaded eraser. These things are really neat because you can make a point on with the kneaded eraser, and then you can erase little details if you need to. And then when it gets dirty, you can just stretch it and knead it. That's why it's called kneaded eraser. Yeah. And then it's all clean after you've used it. So we really like using these. And then when they get really dark and almost black, then you can throw them away because they stop erasing. Okay, we're going to use a really cool photo that we found of an awesome beetle on Google, right? And we're going to be looking at it. It's on our computer up here. Our art friends can't see it, but we have a link in the description below this video where you guys can pause the video, click that link, and then bring that up on your computer so that you can look at the same image that we're going to be looking at.
Okay.
You ready to start? Okay, first we're going to use our pencil. And we're going to start with our paper horizontal because we're going to be drawing the beetle this way. And we're not going to draw him too big because we're going to be coloring him in super dark. Okay, and we're gonna, it'll take us a long time to fill them in if we draw them too big. So we're gonna draw the center line. We always start with we try to start with the center line of whatever we're drawing. So I'm just gonna draw a diagonal line that goes right through the middle of our paper, and we're holding the pencil differently, huh? We're holding it like this because it helps keep our wrist off of the table. Sometimes when we're drawing details, I'll switch to how we regularly draw. But when we're doing big shapes, I like holding the pencil like this. Okay, so we got the center line in there. Okay, now let's do a line that's perpendicular. Perpendicular to that center line. And that just means that this line is 90 degrees to the other line. That means it makes a cross. And so this line, if we were to draw, it would be more. Maybe a point would be right there, and a point would be right there. If we kept the center in the same spot, if we tip it a little bit. Good job. That's perfect. Okay, this line is dividing his thorax. His thorax is up here, so his head's going to be up here. His head, his thorax, and then his abdomen, right? Yeah. It's the back part. So let's draw his thorax first. So we're going to draw a line that comes out on both sides. And this distance right here and right here and right here. So these two distances should be about the same because he's symmetrical, right? And then this line is going to be the same on this side. And then we're going to come back in on both sides. And then these lines are going to be matching. And then we're going to do another line in here that crosses over the center line, and this is where his head starts, and we want this to also be divided equally. So if we were to put a point here, and a point here, the distance between these points would match. Cool, that looks awesome. No, that looks really good. So this point right here, and this point are pretty close to the same distance, yeah? This one might be a little further away, but that's okay. All right, now let's draw the shape of his head. And that's just going to be a U shape that comes out and then connects on both sides. And you want to try when you're sketching and trying to search for that shape, you don't want too many lines, too many sketchy lines. And if your lines start getting thick because there's so many sketchy lines in there, you can take the eraser and pick which one you want to keep. Good job. Let's make that a little smaller so we can come in here and maybe just make his head so it's about that long. There we go. And we want to look at the picture up here too. So his head kind of comes out to the side out here on both sides just a little bit. And then it comes across and it's flat on the top of his head. Yeah? Okay. So why don't you erase the whole thing and try again.
Go out to here and go.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good. That's awesome. Okay, now let's get his eyes in there. So this eye is going to be round. And then this eye over here is going to be on the back side, so it's more of an ellipse shape. Yeah, good job. Okay, let's draw a line that comes out for the antenna, and another line down here for the other antenna. And then he's also got a smaller little guy sticking out here. And I don't know the names for all the parts on a bug. So he's got two other smaller little antenna looking shapes that come out. Good. Okay, now let's come back here and we'll do his thorax. So we got a shape or line, a curved line that comes back here. And let's put a dividing line here, a guideline that's going to help us measure. So this is where his body's going to start coming down back to the center line. I said we were going to draw our bugs small. How come our bugs are looking huge?
I don't know.
It's going to take us forever.
Yep.
All right, Kate, and then we're going to draw the other curve on this side, and we want this line to be, this line's going to help us. It's going to be a guideline. Okay, so we want to make sure that this distance right here is the same out here because he's symmetrical. So we're going to curve out to that line now, and that's going to help us. This guideline helps us build our shape, and then this one's coming back in and curves into the back. That looks great. That looks awesome. You're all done. Cool. So, all right. So now we can do his legs, and let's just do stick lines, and these are going to just help us so that we can figure out where we're going to position his legs. So we got one line coming out where this point is, and then we're going to do the same thing on this side. We're going to have a line that comes out over here. That's for the first segment in his foot or his leg. Okay, and let's come back over here, and we'll do a curved line this way. Nice, and then we'll do one down here so we can build at the same time since he's symmetrical. Good, so we want to make sure that these are the same length. Good, and then we're going to bend this leg back up, and then this leg is going to be bent this way. Good, does he have a V shape?
No. That's my other line.
That was your other line?
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. So so just like that, you want to make sure that you know which line you're going to pick. Yeah, good job. Okay, and then we're going to now we're going to come back and we'll do the next set of legs. Okay, so we're going to come right here. So we can also do a line that's going to help us, a really light line that goes across his body, and that's going to help us or tell us where his next set of legs are coming out. Okay, so we're going to do a line back or out like that, and also a line back this way. Nice. Okay, and then we'll do the next segment. So another line back. This one we can bend even more. Good job. Okay, and then let's finish. We'll do one more here, and I'll do one back here. Good. Okay, now his last set of legs are going to come out right where we had that guideline. So we'll do that first segment, do another segment down here, and then do another bend, and then that last bend. We'll do the same thing up here. Bend, and then one more bend. He looks awesome. He looks super cool, huh?
Yeah.
Nice job, Checkers. You did really good. Okay, now what we can do is we can come back in and we can actually make the shape for his legs. So this line is going to be the guideline in the center. So we come up, we'll make that first segment. So we go around it. We can do the same down here. And make some thickness. So those guidelines kind of act like the skeleton for his legs.
Okay.
And then I'm going to actually use the guideline up here, and we're going to end up keeping it. So we're just going to put a line next to it like that. And I'm going to do the same with this guide. Come out. There we go. And then do the same down here. And if we go too fast, what can our friends do?
Pause the video.
Yeah, you guys can always pause the video and then catch up and then start the video up again. Okay, good job, Chuckers. We also went through and we added his little claws on each of his feet. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Now, this is a really cool way to do any bug. We could stop right here because he looks awesome. Mm-hmm. And our art friends at home, they could actually do a search for another beetle or another type of bug. And you could use those same steps to draw any bug. right? You could draw the center line, and then you could draw the guidelines in between to help you kind of build the shape of his body first, and then draw the little skeleton lines for his feet, and then build his feet up, and then you have another bug. It's pretty awesome, huh?
Yeah.
And nice and simple steps. He looks very realistic, don't you think? It's pretty cool. So we should shade him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's going to look even more real once we shade him. And this is going to be awesome because it's a black beetle. So we're going to make him, we're going to press really hard, and we're also going to make him shiny, okay? So let's first put some really light lines for, actually, first, before we do that, let's erase our guidelines. Okay, you got all of those lines erased?
Yeah.
Okay, now we're going to come in, we're going to use our pencil, and we're going to put a really light shape right here, and this is going to help us keep, to not press dark when we're shading in our beetle, because this is where the highlight's going to be. And then we're also going to put another little highlight on this side of his body over here. Just a really small one. Okay, so that's going to be part of the reflection. And we're going to have another reflection right here in between his thorax and his abdomen. So we're going to put a little shape right in between here. And this is just, it's just going to help us. We want to keep it light. And that's going to help us so that we don't color it in or shade it in. And then we're also going to do another highlight right here on this side of his abdomen. Is this abdomen? Or this is thorax. This is abdomen. Yeah. Abdomen's in the back, thorax is in the middle. And then we're going to do another highlight over here on his head. So we can put another shape right there. Good. And then we're also going to do some highlights on his legs, but I don't know if we need to put all of these in. But we can speed forward, and we're just going to, our art friends can match what we're doing. Just putting little highlights. All right, checkers, you ready? Let's start with his head first, and we're going to shade this in really dark. So the first step we're going to do is we're going to come in, and we're going to shade his head. This isn't really shading. We're just going to block this in with really solid. We're going to press really hard, and I'm going to leave a little space right here on the back of his head, and that I'm not going to color in, okay? And then I'm going to shade or fill in right up to that highlight, and I'm going to leave a couple other highlights right next to his eye, and I'm also going to color in his eye, except leave a little highlight on his eye also. There we go. And then I'm also leaving a little light, little white next to the edge on this side of his head. So we got his shape, we got his eye, we got the shape of his head that comes around this eye. And I'm going to fill that one in, and then the rest of his head. All right, good job. Okay, now let's get our blender, and we can use the blender to just go over the black. And if our art friends don't have blenders, you could just use your finger to blend this in. So we're going to do just a nice gray where that highlight was, all of those highlights. Just kind of fill them in. Then we're going to get our eraser. You got it?
Almost.
Almost. Good. That's awesome. Okay, we're going to get our eraser, and if you have a kneaded eraser at home, you can get a point on your kneaded eraser and come in and just do a little hot spot, a little white spot right where you blended over that highlight. And then I'm going to do the same thing on his eye. Like that. That looks cool.
Yeah.
That looks way cool. And then we can also go around his head and kind of clean up the edges if we shade it outside of the line. Okay, now let's do that on his thorax. So we're going to speed it up, but we're going to do the same thing. There's also some highlights, so I'm going to leave an edge on this side, the top side of his body, like this. So I'm going to put another line in there that I'm going to shade in between. And then I'm also going to leave a little highlight. So let's put this solid line in. But I'm going to leave another highlight that's in between, kind of like what we're doing over here. Okay, so, all right, so let's fast forward. Good job, Chuckers. You got your thorax in there. He's looking shiny. All right, let's repeat the steps for his abdomen. See how on this side we left some highlights over there too? So I'm going to put that shape in here. I'm going to put one more line that's over here that's going to help guide. So I'm not going to fill in really dark on the other side of that line. I'm going to fill in between. So in here, in between this line and this line is going to be really, really dark. And then the same thing over here on this side. We got this guideline. And I'm going to put another line on this side. So right next to it. This is going to be another guide. I'm not going to fill this in dark on the edge. Okay. And then I'm going to put a reflection line. So this is his leg reflecting into his body. Right here. And then also right here. Okay, so I'm going to bend this back more like that. So it matches. So that bend matches and this bend matches. So it should look like a reflection, a mirror image of it. Like that. So this is going to be dark, this is going to be dark, and this is going to be dark. And we're going to leave all of this stuff a lot lighter. Okay. Okay, let's fast forward again.
Okay.
Ready? Right now. And then with the side of his body, right here down by the edge, I'm starting really dark, but I want the shading to go from dark to light. See how it's almost white right there?
Yeah.
And so you start really dark, you press really hard with either your finger or the blender, and then get really light when you get to the edge, so it stays super white down here. Chuckers, that looks super awesome. Give me 5. He looks awesomely shiny. I love it. He looks really cool. So to review the steps is that we made the highlight shape. So we sketched that in really quick. And then we filled in super black, the black part of the bug. And then we went over and we made the gray. We kind of made the highlight so that it was gray. And then we went back over and we erased the highlight. Yeah. That was it. Like 3 steps, right? Yeah. And we repeated that for each of the body parts. Okay, so now let's do his legs, and we're going to come down here, and this is going to be super easy because it's really the same steps as what we did for his body. So there's a highlight right here on his leg that I'm looking at, and there's a highlight right here at the top where it intersects with the next part of his leg. Okay, so now we're going to come in. We'll do it really dark like this on his leg. Then we're going to make sure that we leave that white spot right there on his highlight, or the highlight on his leg. And we're going to come back with the blender, make it gray, just like that. Alright, so the next part of his leg, we're going to do the same thing, color it black. It's going to intersect. There's a little highlight. We can do a little highlight down here at the bottom, like that. Fill it in nice and black. Then I'm going to do the same down here, except his foot has shapes or little steps in it. Little zigzags. So we can add those in and leave little white highlights for the reflection of the light. And we'll do his foot. I know I'm going really fast, so our art friends can pause it.
I need a pause.
You need to pause it? We'll wait for you. And then I'm also going to do the claw, fill it in. So we just got all these little highlights right here. And then I'm going to just take the blender and just blend just part of the highlight. Or we can go back over it with the eraser if we need to, if we got too much. Nice job. Okay, we're going to repeat those steps for the remaining legs. Okay. Okay, let's do it. We'll speed it up super fast.
Right.
Wow, dude, he is looking awesome. He looks like he's just going to jump right off the paper. Okay, we got one last step, and that's his antennas. So we're going to do the same, almost the same technique that we did on his foot. And so we got this guideline I'm going to put it in a little darker. And this is for his antenna, right? Mm-hmm. We're going to do shapes, little shapes like this, because his antenna is made out of little segments. So we kind of just build his antenna along the guideline that we created. That's kind of fun, huh?
Yeah.
It almost looks like a chain. And then when we come back, I'll show you, we can fill in those highlights maybe a little more so that it doesn't look like a chain. So we come back in and fill in a little bit of each of those segments like that, so that the highlight's a lot smaller. You can also blend a little bit with your thumb or finger, and you can come back in and erase out the edge so it's nice and clean. We're going to clean up our whole paper when we're done. Okay, let's do that on the other side and then also on his little antenna. We'll speed this up, okay?
Okay.
Yes, that looks awesome. All right, last step, dude. We need to go around. Our paper's kind of messy and muddy, so let's use our eraser and clean it up so it looks white again. Chuckers, we did it, man. The paper is all nice and white again, and that's one of the last things I really like doing at the end is just cleaning up the paper so it looks, so there's a lot of contrast. You got the white paper, and you got the black bug. Looks like it's popping right out of the paper, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we want to remember too that the first steps that we use for building our bug, we can use those same steps for any bug. So you draw the center line, and then we have some guidelines that go across his body this way, and then we build the shape of his main body, his head, his thorax, and his abdomen, and then we use kind of skeleton or stick figure lines to build out his legs. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Pretty easy, not too hard. Did you have fun?
Yeah.
We hope you guys had a lot of fun drawing this beetle with us at home, and we want to see a picture of it, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's our email address, Chuckers?
myart@artforkidshub.com.
Yes, myart@artforkidshub.com. And we'll see you later, art friends. Goodbye.
Bye, friends.